Do. We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd live. So you will note that my door is open, which never happens in the studio. Oh no, you get to see some of my kitchen. The reason for that is my lovely wife is currently outside of the house, and I have dogs. It is too hot outside to leave them outside. So I have to keep my door open to make sure that they do not get into any trouble because they often do. So we may have a visitor. We may have some four-legged visitors at some point during the stream. But I wanted to just give you guys the heads up. That is why the door is open and things look weird behind me uh, because uh, sometimes that has to happen. Uh, so yeah, I wanted to go live today to talk about some Warzone stuff specifically that has been happening in the last week or so, and to answer any questions and whatnot as these things come about. But also, it was yesterday was a very hectic day for me, so I didn't get a chance to record earlier this week or yesterday to have this not live. So we've decided to do this live this week because I didn't want to skip out on you guys getting a video, and there's stuff to be talked about. Let's talk. Before we get into, oh wait, hello, Korok. Before we get into the actual topic of the three new unit types that have landed at Warzone Eternal, I want to do just a real fast week in Bryan blur. It's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. Personally, oh man, it's been crazy hot here in Indiana, like unseasonably so, for a handful of days now. And we are pretty sure that last night the heat caused the air inside my car my brand new car that we just bought expand to the point where it cracked the window on the driver's side, which sucks. I've got to call into insurance to find out if it's covered, or if I've just got to shell out a couple $100 to fix a window on a car that still has dealer plates on it. Sorry, that is me. You're catching me in rant mode. This week has been very rant worthy. Otherwise, personally, everything is going great. It's one of my buddy's birthday celebrations later tonight. So after I get done with all the studio stuff, I'm going to drive down and go play some games with my buddy. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hobby-wise, I have done very little. It's been too hot to sit under heat lamps because all my lamps in the place are crazy hot. That's not true. It's just been too hot to hang out in the studio, even with the air conditioning working and such, for long periods of time. So I've been doing my best to be out in the rest of the house where the airflow is a little bit better. So yeah, I haven't gotten really any hobbying done apart from printing some stuff that is necessary for some playtests and the like. Yeah, gaming wise, played in a D&D playtest session earlier this week, which was much needed. I had a very rough day that day and just really needed to roll some dice and kill some stuff. So that's what we did, and it was great, and it was absolutely wonderful. I was supposed to play my wife's D&D game over the weekend, but we had some absences and some illnesses, and adulting gets in the way. So we postponed until later in the month. And then other than like playtest stuff and whatnot, that's really all I got to do. Did a little bit of video gaming, but it's been like I said, it's been a busy week. And then work wise, the reason why it's been so busy, I am coming off of getting back all those emails post Origins and getting all that stuff squared away. So I've got a couple more consulting gigs that I picked up. I've got another miniatures game that somebody is asking me to do some development and consultation for. I still have my ongoing stuff with Xeogenesis and Warzone. Obviously, all my role playing game stuff. It's just been a busy week. I don't necessarily think that it's. I don't believe that I'm overbooking myself. I'm not to that point. It's just a lot of constant, which it is what it is. Um, the news of Vampire Bound by Blood is getting out further and more widespread. Vibe, Gizmodo, they ran articles on it. The Eldritch Lorecast said some really nice things about me earlier this week concerning the project. It's been good, and I think I can't wait for more people to get to see it, or more people to be able to talk about some of the ins and outs of it. In fact, I am waiting to hear back from all three companies, White Wolf, WotC, and Ghostfire, waiting to hear back from their marketing collective as to whether or not how much I can talk about. I'm planning on doing my episode next week to talk about the Vampire Bound by Blood. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. So that's, like I said, it's been a hectic week. It's been a crazy week. Woke up to a crack window today. Just life in the 21st century. All right. So I guess that's pretty much the week in Bryan. We can get that, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can talk about all the stuff that's been happening with Warzone Eternal. I know it's been a hot minute since I've done a video specifically on Warzone, but that's just because there's been a lot of there's something else coming. There's something else coming. Like, there's been a lot of stuff that's like on the way to being reality. And now that stuff is reality, I can talk about it more. So a month or so ago, we had the guys over at One Page Rules ran their crowdfund for the Worlds Beyond, which is the first time that the Warzone Eternal stuff made by Alex and I were applied to another game system. That's the One Page Rule system that they've created over there. And it's also the first time that we had any of our miniatures put out as STL options that allowed people to buy these STLs, print their models, and play, whether they want to play with Warzone Eternal or if they wanted to play their One Page Rule stuff. It gave more options. It brought more people to the table, and that's the goal. The goal is to obviously make sure that we have more people. That is not a number I recognize. I'm on a live, guys. You know what? We're going to answer this call live. Hello, this is Bryan. Let me give you another number. I have to. I'm on currently a live call, so give me 1 second. I'm going to mute my mic. No, I'm going to mute my. You're part of my YouTube channel right now. Say hi. Say hi to who am I speaking with? Everyone, wave hi to Misty. Okay, you're getting all the internet waves. Yeah, I'm going to mute them so they don't get the number that I'm going to talk to you. So we're going to mute the microphone. 1 second, everybody. Thank you. I know that's weird for me to do that. Normally, if it was a pre-recorded video, I would have just paused, taken the call. But because of the cracked window, I knew that I had insurance people calling soon, and I figured that was them, and I was right. Misty is the point of contact with my insurance agent. So yeah, now that she's going to go call, and hopefully all will be well with the window. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So, so STLs and Worlds Beyond. So that campaign ran, and it introduced Warzone as a miniatures line to a lot of people. And as part of those packages that they got for their Worlds Beyond, we also made sure that they got the PDF of the rules and lore documents and the stat cards and things for them to also be able to come over and learn how to play Warzone Eternal. The goal of this whole OPR thing. When that was done, we then started ramping up. Our dear partners over at Transatlantis Games started ramping up the creation of the Frontier, which is a crowdfunding-esque service through My Mini Factory for the packages of STLs that allows the remainder of the Warzone Eternal game line to be purchased as STLs, and therefore, getting better access and more people having access to the game, which is ongoing at the time of this video. You can actually pop over to the Frontier. I don't have the link. I don't know if somebody, Korak, you're currently watching. If you have the link to the Frontier, can you put it in the chat? That'd be great. If not, I will put it up on my socials later on. You guys will be able to pop over to My Mini Factory, look up Warzone Eternal. The link is not hard to find. It's another STL option to get the miniatures that you can then play with Warzone Eternal, or if you so choose, the one-page rules situation when that stuff gets created down the road. But that isn't the important thing of why I wanted to do this live today. The important thing that I want to do live, Lauren Burdick says, what is Warzone Eternal? Wow, Lauren, that's a great question. Warzone Eternal is a sci-fi skirmish miniatures game in the 32 millimeter range, 10 to 12 models on a side. And I mean, you can do more or less depending, but that seems to be the general average. And it is set in a Mutant Chronicles universe, back and forth activations. If you are familiar with miniature wargaming, it falls into the category of things like Necromunda or Infinity or Warhammer Killzone, those kinds of smaller scale Malifaux, smaller scale skirmish type games. And it has been my baby for the last 5 years. Alex Knaus, the head over at Res Nova Games, the man, the myth, the legend, he contracted me and grabbed me to be the lead designer to bring this game back. Warzone has existed for 30 years in various versions of its existence. And a handful of years ago, he brought me on to bring it back for this iteration of it. And we had a successful Kickstarter, and then got all the Kickstarter backers taken care of. Shortly thereafter, partnered up with Transatlantis Games to help us get the product out to more people. One of the first steps that they decided to take is to do this STL My Mini Factory option, and it seems to have opened a bunch of doors. And so that's where we are. I hope that helps. Thank you for asking, Lauren. Corey says, hope that link works. I actually don't see a link. I wonder if you can post links in chat. That's possible. You know what, Korak, do me a favor. Send me the link. And I'll see if I can post it. Send me the link in Discord, since you have access to me in there. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Korak. And what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so we were talking about the new units. So as part of kind of the launch of this whole Frontier My Mini Factory thing for Warzone, we wanted to make sure that there was some new awesomeness available to the people who have been with us for several years, or for new players that have shown up. Oh, all right, here we go. Thank you, Korok, for giving me that link. I'm going to see if I can put it in the chat. I bet I can. I am allowed. Ha ha ha. Apparently, I have permissions in my own life. Thank you, Korok. So if you want to do the My Mini Factory Frontiers for Warzone Eternal, click on that link and grab some stuff. Oh yeah, so yeah, as part of making this this launch special, and not just, oh hey, you can get our stuff on STLs now. We wanted to make sure that we had some new stuff that we had been teasing for a little while. Things things that we had sculpted, things that were created, that we just had not gotten in a physical format yet. So we made sure that was the case. The rules were all finalized, cards were all finalized, everything is good to go. And when the launch of the Frontier happened, people were starting to able to get this stuff now. And those 3 new units that we introduced, I shouldn't say 3 new units, I should say three new unit types, are the Mishima Samurai, the Bauhaus Hussars, and the Wolfbane Commandos for Imperial. And I just wanted to kind of take some time today and maybe talk a little bit about what makes those guys cool, why they're special, why they are, why they were the next round of minis that we brought out for those factions. Before I do, though, people have asked, the Frontier, the My Mini Factory, the STLs, are these available in physical as well? So for the purposes of people who don't have 3D printers, is there a place that we can order them? Yes, the answer to that is yes. There are two physical production places now that we are using to fabricate the models. If people want to buy them not as STLs, but buy them physically. If you are in the EU, you want to go to silverheron.com. Silver Heron is doing all of our EU production for the purposes of those miniatures. If you are in the US, you want to go to terraniacs.com, and they are taking care of our physical production here in the US. Now, you might be asking, wait a second, what about everywhere else? So we are trying to find other fabrication solutions in places like the UK or Canada, or outside of those 2 markets. We are trying to work on other options to get more availability. Currently, these are the 2 avenues that you have in order to order that stuff. Hello, Dan. So that, hopefully there will be more options coming down the road. A lot of that depends on business dealings and things that are above my pay grade, to be honest. I am on the creative side of things. Alex is our creative director when it comes to like designing the actual miniatures and making sure the art goes well, and he makes sure that my lore and things that I'm working on kind of gels with the Mutant Chronicles as a whole. And then when it comes to like the rules design and playtesting, playtesting management and whatnot, that's where I'm at. The business side of things, so like distribution, business partnerships outside of Alex and I, that's all Transatlantis stuff with the partnership. So I don't have a say on any of that. So if you ask me questions, sometimes my answer might be, I don't know, because I don't. That's not in my job description. But if you ask me stuff about rules or why units are awesome, I'll tell you all about it. In the case we wanted to talk about the new units, let's start. I've got my program open to talk about the different units. Let's start with let's start with the first ones that came out, and that's the Mishima Samurai. So the Samurai for the Mishima Corporation, a lot of times they get compared as kind of like they're like almost a junior Hatamoto. They're inexpensive, so there are fewer deployment points to put on the table. But their skills reflect their cost. They are still very well skilled, and they're very good in close combat. Part of that has to do with the accuracy of their weapon. They are they currently the only way that the Mishima Corporation can get a projected weapon in a Gehenna Puker flamethrower in their samurai support model. But also, they are an inexpensive troop that has the group ability. And for the people who don't play or who are just getting into Warzone, the group ability is a way for your force to possibly get a little bit of a wave of aggressive action, or a kind of a tactical bump every turn, because you'll have multiple models moving at the same time, in the same collective activation. Whereas normally in Warzone Eternal, it's literally you move a model, I move a model, you move a model, I move a model. In the case of a group activation, in the case of Samurai, who have group 2, it is you move a model, I move to Samurai. You move a model, I move to Samurai, meaning that I have more actions per my activation. Now, because they are not as well skilled, some of those activations might not be as efficient or as reliably offensive, or something along those lines. But it does mean that you're going to get more dice to throw, or in the case of some situations, not necessarily needing to make these checks, you might need them just to be extra bodies to try and farm out your opponent's reactions, or maybe the scenario that you're playing in that particular stretch. Maybe that scenario requires you to get more bodies in your opponent's deployment zone than they get in yours, or something like that. Having less expensive models can give you those extra activations, can give you those extra bodies to bullet sponge your other guys into better positions. So that's one of the primary roles that the Samurai fill, is extra bodies, extra activations. As Dan says in the chat, love my trencher groups. So trenchers were one of the first 2 units that we put out with the Kickstarter that had the group trait, trenchers and undead legionnaires. Both inexpensive forces that maybe are not as good at what they at the collective as things like Blood Berets or Golden Lions or Necromutants, the more elite forces, but they make up for it by the fact that you've got more of them, so you have more opportunities to succeed, even though you may fail at a higher rate as far as like the traits themselves. Which actually, Dan, thank you for bringing up trenchers. So one of the things that a lot of the lower cost group forces so far have is a trait called recruit. Now, recruit in and of itself is not really a big deal. It doesn't change how the model itself functions. It only comes into play once your model gets pinned. Pinned is a very big mechanic in Warzone Eternal. It can completely throw off your tactical balance. When a model is pinned, it means that it cannot, barring any special abilities, it cannot take move actions closer to the enemy, and it cannot make reactions. And reactions are huge in this game. So when a model gets pinned, it often wants to quickly, as soon as it can, take a rally action to shake off that pin. And most models just spend the action. There's no test. They just go, okay, all right, everything's good. Where things get, edgy for things like trenchers, and we'll talk about hussars here in a minute. Models that have the recruit special ability, they actually have to make a leadership test to shake off that pin token. Now that isn't, it's still, generally speaking, like, so looking at the Samurai, they have a leadership of 11. 13 if the leader is present. There are 13 on the leader. So that means on a D20 roll, most of the time, so higher than 50% of the time, you're just going to be able to shrug off the pin token. You're going to be like, all right, I'm good. But it does mean that it's not automatic. And that is where recruit becomes an issue with trenchers. I mentioned the samurai being special. So the samurai are a group force that does not actually have recruit, meaning that they are just as efficient at shaking off getting pinned as a Hatamoto or a Shinobi or any of the other more elite forces. That is kind of the samurai's special function. When Alex and I are designing the units, we try to cook in something not necessarily special, but like something that makes that unit stand apart from others of its kind, others of its cost, others of its general function. So that way, someone doesn't come to the force and go, why would I ever take these guys when this guy does this? Or, those guys are obviously, better because their stats are better and everything else is the same. In this case, samurai, they fill that same group 2 role, that same sort of cheaper. I don't want to use the term cannon fodder because I don't think in most skirmish games to this level, there really isn't much in the way of cannon fodder. Undead Legionnaires might be close, but collectively, the models themselves still have purpose. Their purpose is not solely to just suck a bullet and die. In the case of the samurai, that's even more so. They're less expensive than elite forces, and they don't have recruit. They are actually well-trained group forces, meaning that you've got, you're paying fewer points to put them on the table. You are getting more actions per their activation, and you don't have to worry about them getting stuck into a rally loop if their dice are bad. So it's the samurai collectively are a way for you to field more bodies in a Mishima force without sort of cornering yourself in the Hatamoto market, or being like, okay, I definitely want to take, I need to take all the Shinobi all the time. Unless that's the theme that you're running, if you're just doing it because you want extra bodies on the field, now the samurai are another option. I would say a less expensive option, not necessarily better. It's up to you to make that decision. And then when it comes to the samurai, their support, I mentioned the Gehenna Puker, their support model is a guy with a flamethrower. And anybody who plays, anybody who plays pretty much any game that has flamethrowers can attest, flamethrowers are awesome. And in Warzone Eternal, flamethrowers or other projected weapons with a projected special ability, are really a great equalizer. Obviously, the range on them is not great. It's 10 inches long, but it creates an entire channel of offensive, of threat zone, basically allowing that samurai to potentially hit multiple people. And while that's cool, and obviously, you want to set multiple enemies on fire, that's great. One of the other benefits is the Gehenna Puker hits really hard. It also has a huge bonus to hit, because it's not so much of an accurate weapon as it is just it's filling an area with fire, and if you're caught in that area, it sucks. But one of the best benefits of a projected weapon is that it ignores obstruction and any benefits that people get from obstruction, which means no cover bonus, no camo bonus. So a lot of those things that make models harder to hit with just straight bullets, a flamethrower just goes, all right, I'm just rolling to hit you and see what happens. And so the samurai having a cheap, an inexpensive version of that flamethrower is just an absolute equalizer when it comes to people who, normally against Mishima, when you get close, you have to worry about them charging you. You know, they've got those samurai swords, or their ceremonial blades. Sorry, they're gnarly in close combat, unbelievably good in close combat. With the samurai, they're still good in close combat. Don't get me wrong, but as soon as you see that samurai over there tucked in a corner with a flamethrower, now you have a second reason why maybe you aren't going to get too close to that Mishima force. You're going to keep them at range, or try and keep them at range as much as possible, which potentially the Mishima snipers and things are going to maybe deal with that. Or you're going to pay closer attention to that cheap guy with the nasty flamethrower, and the Shadow Walker, the cyber ninja, is going to run over there and deal with you. It's the samurai basically are just really good tactical options that the Mishima player now has. So, welcome to the table, Mishima Samurai. Next up, let's stay with the groups. Let's stay with the group guys, and let's talk about the Hussars. So Bauhaus as a faction, they are what I like to call them. They're our Volkswagen. They don't need to be pretty. They don't need. I mean, the models are gorgeous. They don't need to be flashy. They get the job done, and that's the important thing. The boxy but good of Warzone Eternal. And Hussars are a glorification of that concept. They're another group troop. So they're group 2. They are inexpensive, so they don't. They only cost 3 deployment points apiece, 4 for the leader, obviously, and they have recruit. So while they can, in fact, still have to take leadership tests for rallying and whatnot, where they excel is their stat line, and they have a higher leadership. They have leadership of 12. Their missile weapon score is 12. Their close combat is 10, but they're really not designed. You don't necessarily want to run into combat with them. That's not their goal. They are a great, just foundational basis of, I need warm bodies to do the thing, so my rangers can, find good places to post up and use their terrain and use their precise senses. So my blitzers can run forward and blitz and do their submachine gunning. So my Etoile Mortant can find those good areas to use that agility, or get posted up and use that sniper that he can plug holes in people because he's got awareness to take 2 reactions a turn. There's the idea that the Bauhaus units are good at lots of things, but they do have kind of a general, I'm good at lots of stuff, but I'm pretty good at, I'm a little better at this one thing, kind of goes out the window with the Hussars. The Hussars are simply foundationally solid. They've got solid weapons, good accurate guns. They've got solid enough armor at 22. Good leadership. They're not going to be the poster children for excess in any capacity, but they're also, you can't look at the Hussars and go, this is their weakness. The closest thing they have to a weakness is that they have to make a leadership test to get rid of their pin tokens. But even then, they have a cheap leader, a less expensive leader, meaning that leader could take actions to inspire and get rid of those pin tokens without rolls, or command somebody to take a rally action. There's things that you can do with solely the Hussars, because they are just a solid foundation of the Bauhaus mentality of, I'm going to get it done. And there are 2 additional models. Obviously, there's the troopers, and then there's the leader. But their 2 additional model types only add to that. The medic, which is the first medic available, to Bauhaus. Medics are worth their weight in gold because they keep models from getting 1 popped that are nearby. I say 1 popped in the way that, like, a really badly, a really poorly thrown armor test can inflict inflict 2 wounds on a model. Most human models only have 2 wounds, meaning that they're just dead if they roll real bad, unless there is a medic nearby. If there's a medic nearby, they only can take a maximum of 1 wound. Now, it doesn't stop people from shooting them a bunch of times or twice and finishing them off or anything like that. There's nothing that stops that. But it does mean that you have to make sure that you kind of protect the medic. Well, other factions, their medics are going to be more expensive. They're going to be tied to elite troops. The Bauhaus medic is a hussar, meaning that it's less expensive. It is a model that you might be able to find a way to field multiples of them if you field additional hussar. I don't say hussar blobs, but like kind of groups of hussars. You can use the extra bodies to bring the extra medics to send with you. There's nothing that says you can't send one of those hussar medics along with your rangers or have him running behind the blitzers, because he's just basically there to help out and to make sure that your other guys don't get killed. And if your enemy is spending actions specifically to commit war crimes, I mean to kill the medic, then those aren't rounds that are going into the blitzer, or those aren't rounds that aren't killing that Étoile Mortant leader that's charging into combat. That's the goal here. Throw in the fact that the Hussar support unit is a light machine gunner. You have basically kind of an upscaled assault rifle of sorts. Oh, one of my dogs is taking a drink. I don't know if you can hear that, but I definitely can. Basically the light machine gun fires multiple times, hits a little, hits roughly the same, but it's a burst weapon, meaning you can brace it if you want, gain suppressive. Now you've got a long range accurate gun that can put pin tokens on people, even if your shots aren't the greatest. You're not as skilled a shot as our Venusian Ranger. That's fine. Dig your heels in and just lay on the trigger. Put that pin token on the guy that you want it to go on. Hopefully I'll get lucky and do a wound, but if I don't, at least I know I put a pin token on him. And that's a good option that not everybody has on the cheaper end of things. A less expensive model means I can have more of these on the table. And anybody who can tell you more dice means more options. All right. Then let's get into the one that has probably been the most, the new unit type that has been the most eagerly awaited, I think. I mean, there's been lots of people that are like, I miss my Bauhaus Hussars. Give me Hussars. But I do think that the Imperial Wolfbanes collectively have been something that people have been clamoring about from the very beginning. And it only got louder when we started previewing the models at shows and showing people, hey, this is what our sculpts, these are the amazing, Alex Knaus directed Resnova Wolfbane sculpts. Check these out. And I think that there was a general cacophony when people started seeing them because, and maybe I'm biased, I am. They're amazing. They're great looking models. They are armored in the right places. They still have that Klansman, War of the Fury of the Klansman feel. They're armed the way they're supposed to be, aggressor pistols and Punisher blades. And the option to get claymores and beheading axes and all the things that make Wolfbanes. But then they're also amazing. We introduced a new. They're technically elite forces. The commandos are elites. They are not group. They are not grunts. So they operate like every other model, except they. Thank you, Dan. You say very cool models. I concur. I think that the Wolfbanes are some of the best models that we have created, and I think that they are probably the best Wolfbanes that have ever existed. I'll say that. I love all my old school stuff. I love the old things, but I think that Alex absolutely took the ball, ran it, scored twice, signed it, sold it, and became a rock star with the Wolfbanes. They're amazing. So hats off to Alex for making these amazing models. The commandos themselves, to get back to the commandos. The reason why I keep calling them commandos instead of Wolfbanes is because Wolfbanes collectively are a much larger facet of the Imperial faction. There are lots of different types of Wolfbanes. The mainstay Wolfbane trooper is the commando, who has his Punisher short sword, his aggressor handgun, meaning that he's short range, or shorter range. I mean, 18 inches on a 3-foot table, 18 inches is still useful, but its accuracy goes way down. And obviously, when it comes to the Wolfbanes, you want to get into close combat. That is your that is your bread and butter, is to get in there and stick people with that Punisher. And one of the things that we made sure that they had is that we wanted them to be dedicated close combat soldiers. So they do have fierce charge. They've got high close combat stats. But during playtest, we kept running into issues with them getting murdered on their way into combat. I mean, in Warzone Eternal, close combat is lethal. People have noted that as they start to play, like, man, my dude's got into close combat and just murdered the opponent. We did that on purpose, and that is because it is sometimes difficult to get into close combat. You've got to make sure that you're playing tactically, that you're farming out the reactions so your guys don't get shot. You're using terrain, hopefully blocking terrain to the best of your ability, and then taking the seizing the opportunity to get that charge in when you need to get it in. But even then, if because obviously everything on the battlefield is open knowledge. If I know that there's a Wolfbane hiding behind that brick wall, I'm not going to run over there and get into combat with him unless I am also just as good in close combat. But as soon as I get within charge range, or as soon as he gets within charge range, if I'm able to, I'm either going to take the ambush shot and kill him, or I'm going to countercharge if I'm a close combat guy, or whatever the case may be. And so during playtest, we were like, we have to find a way to make Wolfbanes not only special, make them somehow cooler, but give them a little bit of a leg up to possibly get into close combat where they excel. And what we did with that is we invented the unstoppable special rule. Now, the unstoppable special rule has gone through a couple of different renditions during playtest, but the final result is simply that a model with unstoppable, while it is charging, you cannot trigger your ambush reaction. You can't if once that Wolfbane has set to the charge, you cannot ambush him. And what that did is that it meant people played a lot more. You had to pay attention to where Wolfbanes are running around on the table. If you have the opportunity to take the shot when they're just running around instead of charging, you're more likely to do that. Or you reevaluate your own. Maybe I got where he's sitting. I can take 2 bad shots. I'll take the 2 bad shots and give it a shot. Or maybe I'll aim and then shoot, try to see if I can't get some wounds on him before he turns the corner and becomes unambushable through unstoppable. Unambushable? Immune to ambush via unstoppable. There we go. That's how the language should be. So that's the that's the real thing that, like, Wolfbanes have, apart from fierce charge and high movement stats, and they're close combat oriented anyway. On top of that, we made it so that last little hurrah, that last little rush into close combat is a kind of a foregone conclusion. You've got to deal with Wolfbanes before they get into charge range, or they are going to charge you. And that was always something that we wanted. That's always something we wanted the Wolfbanes to feel like. That it's like, while you're seeing the Wolfbanes running around in the backfield, you're like, all right, take the shot, take the shot, take the shot. They're just kind of like running around being a nuisance. But then as soon as they're there and they're all painted up and screaming at you, kilt flying in the wind, claymore raised, that moment of, all right, well, I guess I guess I'm getting in combat. I guess he's hitting me, and probably this is going to suck. And so that was always the goal for the Wolfbanes. And over several iterations and many months of playtesting, we feel that the commandos and their chieftain really are in a great spot. Now, this has come up in the Discord where people have asked, why is the support this? Why doesn't the Wolfbanes have like a flamethrower or something that is more close combat friendly than a Charger HMG as their support weapon? Well, this is twofold. One, a Charger HMG is the Charger is an amazing heavy machine gun. It fires big fat bullets. It's a great support option for any Imperial player. Putting it on a Wolfbane might seem a little weird because they want to get in close combat, but it is more of they really do fill that support role. It allows them to lay down fields of fire. Like I was talking about the Hussars, maybe you brace to get rid of that recoil and it gives you suppression. If I know that I can put a suppression token on the guy who my Wolfbane chieftain is about ready to charge, or about ready to run out in front of before he charges, I want to make sure that guy can't react. So I suppress the hell out of him. Maybe my heavy machine gun just kills him, but if it doesn't, I'll at least put the pin on him. I know he can't react. My chieftain is going to get into combat. And that's exactly where he wants to be, because that chieftain is swinging around that big gnarly claymore, which does her Serenity's work. We'll put it that way. So the first reason why the Commandos got the HMG is because it's a great and literally support for the unit. Heavy bullets, lots of firepower to help keep people's heads down, because the Wolfbanes themselves, the Commandos and the Chieftains, are very unlikely to be doing a lot of missile weapon play while they are running across the table to try and get into combat. So the HMG hopefully makes up for that. Then there's a fourth Wolfbane option, which I accidentally just said, the Headhunter. So the Headhunter is an axe-wielding madman. Basically, he is a trooper. He's like the regular commando, a little bit more expensive, but the thing that he has going for him is that he has Executioner 5. Now, if you don't play Warzone, that probably just sounds cool. Or a movie. Sounds like a movie. Executioner 5, the Executionist. It's Executioner 5 means that when this guy swings that axe, when he swings a close combat, makes a strike action, if that die roll is 5 through 1, so it's 5 or less, not only is it a hit, but it's a critical hit. And critical hits in this game mean you have damage multipliers. It's more likely you're going to do more damage. No, they're not insta-kills, but they are far more likely to be insta-kills, especially if you know the targets that you're choosing. So that axe, that battle axe that he swings, hits harder, even before his charge bonus, hits harder than a heavy machine gun fires. That Charger HMG, damage 14, and big fat bullets. The battle axe, even before the charge bonus, hits at damage 16. That's too higher. It's 10% more likely to do damage to somebody. Now you add in the charge bonus for fierce charge, that's damage 18 on that axe. If I get that Executioner hit, so now it's 18 times 2. You are the thickest armor in the game, the Attila or the Razid, at 25. That means that on the charge, a Headhunter comes running in, even if he just hits. It's not even the Executioner. It just hits. That means that the thickest armor in the game needs to roll a 7 before it starts taking wounds. And if it rolls a 13 or higher, 2 wounds. That's insane. But that's exactly what we wanted the Headhunter to do. The Headhunter is a guided missile. He runs out with that axe. He knocks stuff down, kills stuff dead. And in fact, if you can get lucky enough to get two people close to each other, the battle axe goes and swing. Oh yeah, Dan, I mentioned the first reason why we did the HMG. The second reason is because one of the best pieces of Wolfbane art ever is that Wolfbane Klansman with the HMG roaring, all painted up with woad. So yeah, I completely forgot to talk about the second reason why the why the Charger's the HMG is because the art for that model is iconic, and we used that art to send to the sculptor. Alex made sure that the sculptor followed the art, did the thing that it was supposed to do, and it looks great. So yeah, Dan, you are completely correct. That is the other reason why the Wolfbanes didn't get a flamethrower or something that might be more tactically sound or more tactically efficient. Blech. Nobody wants that. We want cool models. We want things looking good and to follow the love that we have for the old games. So Dan, you're correct. But that's what brings us to the headhunter. You know, it's the headhunter is an old troop type. It used to be something that you could have tons of, so we made sure that it was a trooper in the new rules. Where you might be going, but wait a minute, the headhunter has an aggressor handgun and a battle axe instead of a Punisher sword, and he's got this executioner. What's his drawback? His drawback primarily is that he's extra points. He's more expensive, so you get fewer of them. He is also not as good, not as well rounded. He is just the same skilled with close combat, but he's not as good with his gun. So if you are put into a tactical situation where he's got to take some shots with that aggressor, he's not as good. So you're paying more points to put the headhunter on the field. You are also taking into consideration that he is even more focused as a close combat option. He really wants to be in close combat, and bring that battle axe to bear. So yeah, that's the reason why the Imperial Commandos, the Wolfbane Commandos, why we wanted to make sure they came out. First off, Alex again blew the doors off the barn when it came to making sure the sculpts on these were great. Alex as an artist, as the creative director, to make sure that the sculptors and everything do what they are supposed to do. All right, I'm gonna take a second and pat my partner on the back. I've been in this industry a long time. I've been doing miniature games from Privateer Press to Mongoose Publishing to Cool Money or Not, to Xeogenesis. I've been with a lot of companies and a lot of miniature games, and I've worked with a lot of art directors. And Alex is probably one of the best. One of the best minds for capturing the feel of the old, the love of the old, the love that he has for this license. I mean, this game wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Alex's love of this. Capturing all of that, but also making sure that the aesthetic does not outweigh today's technology to create miniatures. The sculptor, make sure the sculptors are doing the right proportions. He also has the technical know-how to make sure this happens. So I'm throwing out a big high five to my partner Alex. He without him and his input, Warzone would not be a thing. I hate to say that. And I don't hate to say that. I prop him up. Props to him for him being the soul behind how this game came about. And more stuff to come, obviously. Obviously, that's what I got. So we have about 7 minutes left of this live. We've talked about the 3 new units. We've told you how to get them in STL format and how to order them physically in the areas where you can. Obviously, you can order outside of those countries, but you will probably pay higher shipping and things. I know that that Transatlantis Games is working on more options to be able to get these models physically elsewhere, but more news on that in the future. If you want physical stat cards, drivethroughcards.com has all of our stuff. Oh, did I just? No, we're still good. I hit a button and I thought I screwed up the live. Whew, that was almost terrible. So let's go ahead and open the floor for the last 5-6 minutes and answer any questions that collectively about Warzone, the units, whatever the case may be. We've got a few viewers. Let's open the floor. Oh, we got a few things. The Charger is in the classic art. Yeah, we talked about that. The Chief has the strongest charge in the game. The dude's a monster when he gets close. Fury Elite, eat your heart out. Yes. So the Fury Elite, the Brotherhood kind of like close combat leader model, hits like a tank. It's got faith to reroll misses. It's got great stats. It is still an amazing, amazing close combat machine. But the Wolfbanes do in fact do just a little bit more damage. You know, they hit just a little bit harder, and then they've got that whole unstoppable thing going for them, meaning that if I'm, you know, kind of waiting to stay on the defensive and, you know, drop that last minute last minute ambush, can't do that against Wolfbanes. You got to try and get them early, because if they get within charge range, they are gonna charge you. Korak also says Alex rules. Yes, he does. I am extremely fortunate that my creative partner is so amazing and has so much love for this game. All right. Any other questions or things before we move on to the closing chit chat of this fabulous deal? Dark City says hello, and there's a weird little symbol before the hello. Well, you know what? Hello, Dark. Amira says hi. Well, I say hi to Amira back. Let me take a drink of my tea out of my Gen Con cup from 2023. Can't wait for this year's Gen Con cup. Speaking of Gen Con, I don't know if it's sold out yet, but I know kind of our Doom Trooper demo chief extraordinaire, Gray, is going to be running a tournament at Gen Con of Warzone Eternal, and I know that a lot of the spots had already sold out, but I don't know if it has sold out completely. If you're going to Gen Con and you have Warzone models, see if you can jump in. Let's see if you can get in there and do the thing. And then as far as that goes, unlike Adepticon that requires miniatures to be painted, Gen Con doesn't have that whole thing. So if you are a new player to Warzone and you're like, God, I don't want to come out to the tournament at Gen Con because I don't have my stuff painted, that's not an issue here. So please come out, play the game, enjoy, become part of the community. Prophet 21, hello, good sir, an old friend. It's been too long. I don't know Prophet 21. I don't know your real life name, but you know what? I'll say hello back to you, old friend, and maybe it has been too long. We'll have to find out if you say what's up. Salvage Drop says, hey, Bryan, Wolfbane Sculpture here. You and Alex, you know what? Salvage Drop, I have been talking about how amazing the Wolfbanes are in game and also as sculpts. Salvage, you did unbelievable work with these, and I hope that that we can send you more and amazing, cool stuff. We all know that there's some more Wolfbane model types out there that we want to get on the table. Obviously, we want to spread the love out to maybe some more other Imperial stuff too. We don't just be like, you know, Wolfbane. But there's obviously more stuff that we can do. So please reach out to Alex, see if we can get those wheels turning, make some more cool stuff. Oh, Dave, hi, hello. It has been too long. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that everything is great. This is why I do the channel. I've only got a couple more minutes. If someone asks a question, I'll answer it. But this is why I do the channel. is community in this. Yep, time for me to philosophize. I'm in this industry because I love games, and I am a gamer. I'm a big giant dork, and I love all of the joy that I have received from gaming, the friendships that I've made, the relationships that I've made, just collectively, and knowing that I can be a part of that in some capacity is beyond worth its weight in electrum, platinum, and all the above. Um, it's the reason why we do these things, and the fact that I haven't worked for Mongoose in 20 years, 18 years, no, probably close to 20 at this point. That you found the channel, you jumped on here just to say hi, that means the world to me. It's been 2 decades since I worked for that company, and we still have some kind of relationship. We have some kind of connectivity through the industry, through the communities. And in one of my other episodes recently, I talked about reconnecting with Dan Brandt over at used to. I knew him through Privateer and then Pokemon, and now he works at Gamma. But these are relationships that I hope will maintain and stay fostered forever. My goal is not to die. My goal is to get super vampire powers or a robot body before the end. But I want more than anything. If for some reason, if I got struck by lightning tomorrow and didn't get superpowers because of it, that my passing, my funeral would be filled with all of the awesome people, whether it's a digital memorial or whatever, it would be filled with all the awesome relationships and the fans that I've touched through my work, not physically. That came off weird. Or I hug a lot of fans, whatever. But basically the communities that I have helped foster and create, the audiences of the works that I have done, I love that aspect of this industry, and I hope that all of my work and everything that we do can continue to foster that and continue to create more places for people to get together and enjoy and create more friendships and go from there. Dan says, I'd love to see more YouTube content anyway to make that happen. Cabin's doing great. No, Cabin Miniatures, amazing. He does great painting videos. He's an amazingly great guy. We are absolutely trying to support him in his efforts to do more content. As far as other channels and things, marketing is expensive. And I hate to say that. Marketing costs money, and sometimes a lot of money. So it's a catch-22. You want the product to do well, but you need to spend the money to get the product out there so the product can do well. So it comes down to where that can happen. There's only so much for a small game like ours. There's only so many funds to go around. And do we put the funds towards sculpting new models and making new things, or marketing to make more money to make more models? It is thankfully decisions that are thankfully it's decisions that are made not on my stress levels. I know there's ways to do things, and I hope that they get done. But it is not these are not decisions that are on my pay grade. And I hope more people that the My Mini Factory concept, that the STLs allow more people out there to get better access to make games, paint models, and do some more videos and do content where they're like, hey, check out this new thing that I got from Warzone Eternal. That's the goal. That's the hope that will happen. But you are absolutely right. Cabin Miniatures does amazing work, and we are trying to support them in the best ways that we can, for them to be able to create more great content. So fingers crossed. As far as other channels goes, I have talked to some of my peers, and I know that that Tag has talked to some people too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep our eyes peeled. And if you hear, in any of the communities that you're in, or anybody else that's watching, if you hear something from somebody that's like, hey, I would love to do some Warzone stuff, I just need minis, or I just need to know better the rules, or whatever, have them reach out to us. We'll see what we can do. So that's what I would say. All of that being said, we have come to the end of the live. I have another meeting shortly that I have to go join, but I just thank you for coming out and hanging out and listen to me go on and talk about Warzone and things for an hour. Next week, I hope to have the marketing clearance to do an awesome video on Vampire Bound by Blood. If you are in the U.S., please stay safe this weekend. Keep your pets safe. If you are a veteran, keep yourself safe. July 4th is a tough time for a lot of people. And if you are the kind of person that sets off a lot of fireworks and things, be mindful of your community. Maybe take it out, find a place where you can go that's not right next to all of your neighbors' pets and veterans dealing with PTSD and the like. There's a lot. But either way, have a great weekend and stay safe and enjoy yourself. On that same route, get your shots, wash your hands, don't lick doorknobs. Just be good. Be a good person. That's what I'm saying right there. All of you fans, be good people. And just try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. And I think that's the only way to get by. So until next week, stay safe, have fun, and play some games. Because literally tonight I'm going to. Bye, guys.